I would only do a style if I understand it and connect to it 100%.
First of all, I want to say welcome to my channel. I'm very excited, like I said before, to finally get to meet you because not only I admire so much what you're doing, but I have so many questions, when it comes to the range of your array, like everything that you're playing, and you seem to be so skillful at every genre. You're willing to understand and to listen to what people want to hear. So welcome to Al Estrellato.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
How extensive is your music library to get to know, the different tendencies in music nowadays? Like, how do you organize that on a personal level?
Regarding my catalog alone, I think I have over 100 songs right now. And this is in a very short span of time. I think it's been maybe around 2 years of like heavily releasing to the point where I've really narrowed it down to exactly what I'm looking for to please my fans.
How do you guys take the temperature of not only the audience, but also for yourself? Like, because you have to navigate probably many genres that didn't speak to you at first, and then maybe it grows in you. How does that happen?
I never really used to be a fan of electronic music until I really started to listen to it. And I got to the point where I was wondering to myself, why do people like it so much? I started to really think properly, and I was like, this is programmed to make people feel good. I realized that the more I allow myself to expand my listening, the more I'm able to not only grow as a musician, but as a person, grow my palette of like musical understanding and global understanding about these like cultural exchanges. That openness is something that I really try to present to people, because people don't realize they like something until they've heard it or until they've experienced it. I mean, that's how I started in Brazilian funk. I didn't even know it was a possibility. And then I started listening to it and I was like, why haven't I heard this before? The more I dug into it, the more I realized I want to be part of this. I want to be part of the growth of this amazing genre, of this amazing culture. I put myself as almost an ambassador of this genre to take it global, because this is a rhythm, just like a genre, that needs to be heard by people outside of Brazil.
Your name.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a stage name? Tell me, how did you come up with that? Was that trying to signify something, or was it meaningful at some point in your career?
For me, Don Dali has always had a very specific meaning because I'm a great fan of art. So for me, Salvador Dali, one of my favorite artists, and one of the, I guess, best visual representations of my work. I adopted that name to really honor what he has done in the artistic space, experimentation, of openness, of, seeing past what is there, because there's so much more to anything. People might listen to my stuff and wonder, like, what is this? And I'm sure they thought about Dali's work the same way.
So let's talk about pasaporte or passport. This is great because this is for a wider demographic. Like, everybody can feel a part of this. How many tracks are there that you worked to make it probably the compilation of everything that you wanted to put in? And how hard was it? Because I feel that probably you had so many ideas, but in the end you had to narrow it down to the 10 tracks, or
Yeah, so it's 14 tracks, and it was exactly like that. It's very difficult to put like a stop on your work, and at one point you have to be like, this is probably better for the next project or something like that, or I want to release this as a single because it doesn't quite have that same all-rounded. But the album was really interesting for me because I called it Passaportio for a couple of different reasons. That included, first of all, lyrical content, but also what I was aiming for the concept to do, bringing people together, crossing the genres and all that. But what I found super funny was there's like a lot of those sort of nuances one of the main songs in the album, Portuñol, talks about exactly that. Like, and that's exactly what the album does. You know, it crosses those language barriers, those cultural barriers.
I find music to be so amazingly powerful in
Yeah.
every way. And that's why your work to me is mesmerizing, because not only you have to know your thing, but you have to know everybody's thing.
Even though I'm Australian, I live in Miami. I'm surrounded by, first of all, Spanish speakers all the
Right.
time. And then I work in a lot in Portuguese speaking music. So like I'm surrounded by Brazilians in that way.
How
And
many
so
languages do you speak, Don Dali?
I grew up speaking English and surprisingly Romanian because my parents are Romanian. So some of that Latin base was quite easy for me to move into Spanish and Portuguese. So these days I'm learning, you know, more and more Spanish and Portuguese. I understand almost everything in Spanish. Like I had a meeting from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. on Monday, all in Spanish. I found myself thinking like that with reggaeton. I grew up on reggaeton. That might sound weird as an Australian saying that because like you don't, no one ever expects it to go all the way there, but it did. You know, I was listening to that from a young age, and I loved it. You know, I didn't know what the lyrics were saying, and like looking back now at some of the lyrics, I'm like, oh shit, that's what I was dancing to. You know,
Do you come, Don Dali, with a template, I guess, with something like already like under your sleeve, like this is how I'm gonna start, and then you had like backup plans all around, like okay, this doesn't work out, I will, you know, I don't know, I will reach out to this or that, or
yeah.
just let it flow organically.
It's usually like how you say, you know, a template or just prepare something, not a whole set, but like a collection of music where you can be like, okay, this might be cool if I go to this song after this song after. But I'd say 80% of the time it doesn't turn out the way you think it does, you know, because every crowd's different. The amount of times I've put on a song and people just aren't vibing with it. I'm there like, oh no, I have to do something about this. So I switch it out, you know.
So what is that track in this album in Passport that you like the most, and why?
I'd say Novo Movimento, the second track on the album. It's very easy to listen to. It's like one of those tracks where you can listen to while you're studying, while you're doing work, before you go to bed. But it's also a track that you would expect to hear in places like Ibiza or Tulum or here in Miami. You know, it's something that is tropical and something that like really gets you moving, but not too much. You know, it's like just on the edge where yeah, it keeps you like just to the point where you're not getting too tired, but you're also having a really great time.
Is there a genre, Don Dali, that you are not willing to explore?
That's a tough one because I honestly can't think of anything. I would only do a style if I understand it and connect to it 100%. Before I get into any style, I would really sit down and like study it and like learn to love it, not just to like it, you know, to love it.
Your biggest inspiration when it comes to DJing, you know, like the biggest one nowadays that you have come all this way in your own career, the
Yeah.
one inspiration that you say, you know what, this has always been one, you know, in my top three or whatever, or this was never an inspiration to me, but now I find it really interesting.
Mm. That one person would have to be Diplo, and it's an easy question for me to answer because I really respect how he's been able to integrate into every culture he steps into. You know, like with his project with Major Lazer, they've pretty much conquered like all those exotic sounds from dancehall to Brazilian funk. I feel like that like his career has sort of set the blueprint of my career where I'm able to look at it and go, okay, I can take this further in some way.
If I ask you to be my DJ at a friend's party, people like me, you know, girls like me, what would you say from your Passport album? What will be the songs that you will play first, you know, and what would you reserve for last?
A couple questions to like
Okay.
how do you usually dance? Like are you like a raver or you like slow dancing or you like to throw it back?
such an energetic person, and I find music so compelling and so like the moment you play music for me, I can't just listen to it steady. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna start even if I don't know how to dance to a certain rhythm, I'm just gonna move.
So what I would do is I'd start you off with some sounds you're more familiar to. So I'd start you off with a song like Ay Caraka, where it's like infused with reggaeton. I'd like let you get into it a little bit. As you start getting I guess more comfortable, throw in like some Tassolcina, where it's like I guess the way I'd say that song is, it's like very much DTMF, you know, like Bad Bunny's song is like the way we recorded that was really interesting. And then you know, as it starts heating up, we're going to go into like songs like Modo Soltera, which is like a more tech house sort of thing, and like really bring in some of that, you know, EDM.
What would we what song would be the last one? You know, the party's coming to an end and you want to, you know, end on a high note. What would be that last song that you play for my party?
That would be Bolladonna. Probably has my favorite ending out of all the songs. So it goes from like a tech house track, and then it just like switches up and goes hard, like Brazilian funk,
Okay.
like you hear in the favelas. That's when you're gonna sweat it out, pretty much. Like that, we're gonna save it till last, and it's just gonna be hitting hard.
My last question to you, Don Dali. What would be the greatest response that you get from an audience?
Is when I see everyone happy. So like when the crowd's just roaring, people having such a great time, I've known I know I've done my job right.
I applaud you, my friend, from here, and I really hope to see you in person very soon and to enjoy that music live.
Likewise, Ale, thank you for having me. Yeah,
Of
we'll have
course.
to catch up soon. Are you in Miami?
Yes, I am in Miami, Coral Gables. So whenever you have something going on, and I move around, so
Yeah,
I would love to see you in person.
let's do it. All right.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, love.
Thank you, Ale. See
Congratulations.
ya.
Bye bye.